And we are live. Welcome to the process. It is Friday, March 3rd. I am Josh Engleman, here to break down a 10-game NBA slate. Biggie to close out the work week. Make sure you're hitting that like button as you get in the door. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman. So, alarm gate for this week. We know it happened 2 days ago. I just assumed I shut it off. We know that it happened yesterday. That's when I became dubious. My brain was too paranoid tonight, so I had set my alarm. I woke up at about 4:55 on my own. I just sort of waited and waited and waited. I got to the point where my alarm went off. Nothing happened on my phone. Alarm went off on my wrist for my Apple Watch, like normal. No sound. No vibration, just an alarm, which is not a thing. An alarm that makes no sound and makes no notification is not an alarm. That is nothing. So, backup alarm did go off, did vibrate. So it seems to be something in the iPhone with the sleep alarm. Don't know yet. We're going to test it out. I'll set it tomorrow so I can actually test it out because I don't have anything that I have to wake up for early tomorrow or Sunday for that matter. So we'll be able to figure it out. But, you know, when something works for, I don't know, 8-10 years, however long I've had an iPhone, 2000, oh shit, no, I've had an iPhone way longer than that. Whatever, 2008, whenever I got my iPhone, 2009 actually. It's worked. It's been my alarm for 14 years. Not having it work correctly for 3 days has really just messed up my brain. It's crazy. I hate it. It's the one thing I don't want to be paranoid about. In theory, I should get a different alarm, but why would I do that? Everything already works until it doesn't. DFS stunk yesterday. Everybody that nobody had like a crazy day. Like Jakob Poeltl is the one that smashed the most. Went for like 1.8 fantasy points per minute, but everybody else was pretty tame. You know, like obviously Luka had a big raw total. And Kyrie had a big raw total, but that's, 1.6 fantasy points per minute, 1.4. We just didn't have anybody go to that like 1.8, 1.9, 2 range. So, it's one of those nights. Taking a giant stand on Embiid, he was not nearly good enough. That's for sure. George Hill starting for the Pacers was a thing yesterday. I was not projecting George Hill to play minutes. Then he became the starter. That was fun stuff. McConnell ended up being fine. Had him in basically everything. Thaddeus Brown, there's no chance I'm getting an Android. There's no chance. No chance. Went 2-3 on prize picks yesterday. Missed out on the Kawhi over by 0.1 fantasy points. 0.1. So that was irritating. Went 3-0 on no house advantage yesterday, though. So that was pretty fun. It was good to see. So got another good dub in there. Yeah, like Melton was great. Unowned, really. I went through, looked at my exposures in lineup study, compared them to Adam from yesterday, Petty from yesterday, Eddie, Steve, everybody at our site. No complaints. I'm very happy with what I did. I think I got it in with the right guys. Benedict Mathurin playing like 14 minutes or whatever was harmful. He was like my third most owned guy. So the fact that I got any money back at all is pretty nice. We got 10 games to break down. We don't have a hard out. I don't want to be here forever, but I bumped my gym time today. Since I'm not on the strategy show, I bumped the gym to 10 o'clock so we can take our time. So let's do it. To the 70 of you that are here, good morning. Thanks for being here. Thanks for closing out the work week with me. I appreciate having you guys. I got a coffee here as well. I got to give a shout out. I got 2 new coffees in the mail from one of my best friends. So he recently, I think I mentioned it a while back when we were talking coffee, recently took a new job with La Colombe Coffee, based out of Philadelphia. And he gets some coffee from time to time. And I unprompted, did not know it was coming. 2 new bags of coffee showed up at my doorstep. Very happy. Had one yesterday, but I had that before. And honestly, I made that coffee in 10 minutes to get on this stream. So I didn't say anything yesterday, but trying out another one of the new ones. Supposed to taste like cacao and marzipan and hazelnut, maybe. So we'll see how that ends up going. But, shouts to friends doing nice things when they have the opportunity. This is someone who has been in his past 3 employments. His past 3 jobs have been incredibly lucrative for me. An apparel designer at Mitchell & Ness. It is a sports clothing company for anybody that doesn't know. If you've ever seen a throwback jersey in a rap video, it was theirs back in the day and still would be now. So my entire wardrobe is inundated with Mitchell & Ness. He then made his switch to Reebok and Adidas, at which point I loaded up on Reebok and Adidas clothes, as did my wife. The amount of Stan Smiths in this house at this point is insane. And now we shift to coffee, and I'm about to drink it. So it's exciting. Cheers, guys. Let's get it started. Here's to new coffees for the morning. Rise and grind. We've probably thought about this before, but I never thought about the grind mechanism and the coffee. Man, I'm just dumb and I forget things. Cheers, everybody. Oh yeah, that's good. I get the marzipan too. That's probably the lamest thing I've ever said, but it's true. Should collab with Jimmy Butler. And Ken, the alarm clock did not work this morning. I became very paranoid throughout the night, woke myself up before the alarm, and waited until the alarm went off, at which point it made no noise. It did not vibrate, which is not an alarm. No, Ross, we are not dressing like Sam Smith. All right, let's do this. Whew. Here we go, folks. Here we go. Actually, you know what? Let's see if I can do something quickly. I got to check one thing before we start. Actually, I know it's not going to work, but I got to check one thing. I don't want to tell you guys what it is yet. But I'm like 99% sure this isn't going to work. Oh, shit, it is going to work. Good to know for the future. All right, here we go. Had to check something. For the future, it'll be a good thing for us. But for now, we're going to break down the Orlando Magic. Magic are 3.5-point favorites in Charlotte. They are... I don't have any of my windows open. That's smart, Josh. I knew I was missing something. 229.5 total here for Orlando. Let's get popcorn machine and everything up. There we go. Only John Isaac is out, which means we kind of know exactly what's happening with this Orlando rotation. They do not really deviate all that much. Their last game was on the 1st. They got slammered by the Milwaukee Bucks. They played very large, 4.5 minutes of garbage time. Cole Anthony also closed in that garbage time. I don't even think we're going to make many differences here. You know, Cole Anthony closed in the garbage time. I guess he was like fixing to play a little bit more, but whatever. Doesn't really matter here. I guess I could take a little bit of this time away from Bull, get Cole Anthony up to like 22 minutes. But there's not much here to change for Orlando. That's good coffee for today, man. It's kind of exciting. You know what? I guess I'm going to go up even further to Suggs. We'll get him to 23. And I guess I got to get Cole Anthony up to 23 as well. None of that's going to matter. This is a 10-game slate. We know what it's going to take to be relevant for today. We just do. So let's keep it moving. We'll go to Charlotte. Charlotte probably not going to look all that great because once they stay, like they've already had too high of salaries. I guess it's possible that they come down now that LaMelo is gone, but I don't expect that totally. Now, the Charlotte lineup that we got 2 nights ago when they lost to Phoenix, they started Oubre, but they kept JT Thor, which was interesting. Dennis Smith Jr. did close that game, however, over JT Thor. And I think that is a more likely scenario moving forward. But it does mean we need to redistribute some of these minutes. So I want to take Bryce McGowan out first, and I want to get DSJ in for... He played 26. How did he only play 26 and he closed both halves? That's wild. All right, we're going to go 27 there to DSJ. 28 to Mark Williams holds. 20 to Nick Richards holds. I am going to go up to 26 on JT Thor. I take Kai Jones' minutes out. Gordon Hayward in for 32. I'm okay with. So I think I'll probably end up leaving those the 10 minutes for Kai Jones. He didn't play, so that's going to be an interesting piece as well. We get the DSJ in for 27. We got Bryce McGowan in for 15, but he played alongside of him. So technically, we're going to say that Terry Rozier is mostly the backup point guard. I guess starting point guard. So we're going to get Terry Rozier up to 36. And then we're going to have to get Bryce McGowan's in for, we'll say 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's the 9-man rotation that they ran. We clearly have to give Kelly Oubre more minutes if he's starting. He played 38 minutes. I think that we have to assume that he is playing 34 today. Like, my assumption is he's going to play just like Terry Rozier does. At which point, I still have 11 minutes left over. And there is not like a natural place for those minutes to go. I'm like a minute light on everybody somehow. It's really bizarre. Well, like I can't go higher than 36 on Terry Rozier. I mean, in theory, I should just be factoring in, some sort of potential blowout or Svi Mikhailiuk. But I guess what we really need to do is give Kai Jones 2 more minutes. Actually, he played 13. Yeah, 12's fine. I'm going to end up taking too much time here, but I need to be smart about it. Like JT Thor has started 3 games now. He averaged 25 minutes. I'm giving him 26. He got to 28 and a half. I think he needed like every bit of what he did to get to that number too. So we can go up to 18 on McGowan's and that's not going to affect anything. Honestly, I could probably go to 20 on McGowan's and it won't affect anything. I'm going to give the final minutes to Svi and assume that this is like blowout run. I don't have any rates to change. So game 1 is in the books. I don't also need to open up my calendar. Don't know how I clicked on that. So we'll start it off here for Charlotte, and they're going to be interesting. Terry Rozier is 7,700. This is a guy that gets a giant usage bump when LaMelo Ball is not on the floor. I think if we're assuming Kelly Oubre plays 34 minutes, he's very interesting. I think there's at least a little bit of upside in Gordon Hayward. And then, Mark Williams is just going to be like permanently a reasonable play in the mid-tier, and I assume not getting much ownership. On the Orlando side, there's not a single priority. If you want to roll the dice on a Cole Anthony value option, by all means, you have to assume that he's playing like 23 minutes in that case. Franz is okay at 6K, but has been bad. The more likely scenario is you just don't have much Orlando, which is a shame considering they face Charlotte. You go to Portland now. That's a team we don't normally talk about so early in a show, but they are 6-point dogs in Atlanta, 239 total. Now for Portland, doubtful tag on Anthony Simons, who came back and basically promptly re-injured himself. So we're going back to Dame craziness, which I never took out. I didn't play the Wednesday slate, so I never made an afternoon update, which means that Anthony Simons stays out of the lineup. Now, I do want to look at that Portland rotation quickly because they lost by 11. Why did Eubanks get in the foul trouble? 2 fouls in the first rotation. A third didn't bring him back in. Picked up 4. And then the game at that point in time was over. So I don't really think that I have much that I want to change here, other than I think we got to bump up Matisse Thybulle another minute. Gets him to 30. As little, just not playing as much as I would have expected with an unhealthy team. 37 minutes for Dame feels fine to me. I am going to get Jeremy Grant up to 36. We've got 25 minutes for Drew Eubanks. Actually going to go to 22 on Trendon Watford. I'm going to go 24 to Drew Eubanks, actually. $22 to Watford. Yeah, that makes sense. 37 stays for Dame. Cam Reddish's minutes are coming down a little bit. We're going to take him to... Okay, well, he didn't start. So I am going to leave those Cam Reddish 30 minutes there. That was a artifact of Anthony Simons being in. Yeah, Reddish revenge game. Shaden Sharp minutes were back down again. Very weird rotation. Even once Simons went... Well, he did direct backup Simons. So assuming... Yeah, I mean, I think I take him down to like 24. So that's the 8 guys that are relevant. But then nobody else... Like, I got to basically take those 20 minutes that and split them between Jabari Walker and Keon Johnson. That's what we're talking about. So we're going to go Keon Johnson gets 9. Jabari Walker gets 9. Rates, I don't have to change. This all stays the same. So we got Portland in. I mean, I assume Dame looks okay. The real problem for Dame is just going to simply be that his price. Unless it somehow went down, like they tagged that Simons game somehow. On the Atlanta end, everybody's in. We didn't really get any weird rotation stuff in the debut for... Wait, have they really not played since Tuesday? Interesting. I guess that makes sense. John Collins didn't close. They closed with Saddiq Bey. That is actually an interesting development. So I'm going to take one more minute off of John Collins, take him to 28, get Bey to 25. I can make a case that I should bring Collins down another minute, but I'm not going to do that just yet. 26 for Capella, 22 for Onyeka Okongwu. Ooh. I am interested to see if they start going to Collins at the 5 again. But for now, Atlanta stays the same. Actually, I am going to need Saddiq Bey's usage rate in Atlanta so far. When Saddiq Bey has been on the floor, he has 126 minutes, 13.5% usage rate so far this year for Saddiq Bey in Atlanta. Looks like I got him projected correctly. So then we look at the Hawks themselves. I wish that there was something I could do to stop getting DeJounte Murray as like a guy that I think we should have. I guess I could take a minute away from him, and that's going to solve my problems now. Get him down to 35. But Murray, Young, Collins, Capella, all okay plays. They're fine. They're guys you'll rotate through because a matchup against Portland is really good. This is a 239 total. It's the second highest total on today's slate. So we do like the Atlanta starters, but none of them are like overwhelming priorities. 7,900 is just always going to be a decent price for DeJounte Murray. For Portland, Dame is 11.6. We will happily pay up for that mark, but you know, Atlanta 10th in pace, that's good. It's basically an average pace matchup. Jeremy Grant, Cam Reddish, Matisse Thybulle, all, you know, part of a player pool. They're 5 to 10 percenters today, stuff like that. We'll see where Dame stacks up next to the other pay-up options on the slate. Brooklyn Nets, 10-point dogs in Boston, 228 total. On the Brooklyn end here, no Ben Simmons, no Edmund Sumner, no Yuta Watanabe, which means I think we're going to get the same sort of rotation we've been getting. Now, they did ramp up Seth Curry's minutes. They played Day'Ron Sharpe a bunch, so we need to dig into this most recent rotation. This has become a very complicated team. So what I'm going to do is cut out everybody that isn't one of the main starters. But I'm doing 29 minutes for Nick Claxton. I can't do anything less than that. Dorian Finney-Smith doesn't appear to be playing as many minutes as you would expect, averaging about 27 as of late. I can't go to 27, but I am going to go to 30. I do think that's the goal. Sam Johnson I have in for 30. I'm going to make that 29. Spencer Dinwiddie should probably be about 33. He just sort of is the guy that has to stay at 34. And then Mikal Bridges, I think I could leave at 35, and that feels pretty safe. I'm going to take a look at his usage again. I might have to bump that up another point because he went out and did it again. So now the rest of these guys is where it starts to get tricky. Cam Thomas was the first guy off the bench again. He played 8 minutes. He played 6 minutes. He was +8 in that rotation, and then didn't play again in the second quarter until another minute stretch, at which point he was +5. He barely played in the third quarter, at which point then he was -5 and played the entire fourth quarter at a negative as well. That's when they actually blew them out. I don't know what happened to his rotations. I played a shit ton of Cam Thomas on Wednesday, or I guess that was, it was Wednesday. Or maybe that was Tuesday. Whatever. I played a shit ton of Cam Thomas, and it got me absolutely nowhere because his minutes went bye-bye. So we need to think about the way that we're projecting this out. Seth Curry, at a minimum, is going to play the backup point guard run to Spencer Dinwiddie. That part I feel comfortable with. He was his direct backup in the first quarter, and then Dinwiddie played the entire third quarter, and then they went to Cam Johnson, Claxton, Bridges, Cam Thomas, Royce O'Neal in the fourth quarter, which did not work. But they basically didn't play Seth Curry. So this is, I'm looking at the Tuesday. That was the Tuesday rotation. Wednesday, they came back and got bludgeoned by the Knicks, at which point Seth Curry played a more traditional role and played alongside of Spencer Dinwiddie. But they got destroyed. So it's a real interesting balancing act. Day'Ron Sharpe. Did Claxton get any foul trouble here? No. So they just went to Day'Ron Sharpe in the rotation this time. I'm going to assume that they go to Day'Ron Sharpe again for like 8 minutes. Royce O'Neal's minutes were pretty limited until the blowout. So we definitely need to get Royce O'Neal. I mean, like that Wednesday game, he was going to probably play 16 minutes, 18 minutes, something like that. Joe Harris's minutes have become incredibly limited. He played one second quarter rotation before the blowout. I don't know where these minutes are going. I feel like they're missing 2 guys in their lineup, but somehow everything still adds up to 240. Cam Thomas, blowout again, 18 minutes. So if I give 18 minutes to Cam Thomas and I give 20 minutes to Royce O'Neal and 10 minutes to Joe Harris, now we're starting to get to a point where it's just like, okay, all these guys are just going to be shit options. Maybe that's what we're supposed to do here. 16 minutes to Curry, 18 minutes to Cam Thomas, 20 minutes to Royce O'Neal. I'll give 22 to Royce O'Neal. He's never going to show up. Cam Thomas, I'll go 20. We'll go 10 to Day'Ron Sharpe. I could even go to 18 on Seth Curry, and that's all going to be fine. And then Patty Mills played 6 minutes. So let's just give him 5. I assume we're not even going to like Bridges or anything from Brooklyn, other than, I guess, potentially Mikal Bridges. So as I just go ahead and check, in games that Mikal Bridges has played for the Brooklyn Nets so far this year, starting to get a real sample. 230 minutes, 27% usage rate. I got him in at 23. I'm going to bump to 24. I can never take him to 27. We're still propped up a little bit based on that heater, but let's see where we end up there for Brooklyn. Because remember, this is a matchup against Boston. I probably spent too much time trying to break down Brooklyn's rotation there. I don't have a great feel for what they're doing. But this is a terrible spot, so it really doesn't matter. For Boston, everybody is in, which I already have set up. There's no way Grant Williams got a DNP CD on Wednesday. ESPN box score Celtics 3-1-23. No way. Grant Williams got a DNP CD against Cleveland. Yo, he must have been so pissed. No way that I think that that's continuing. So I'm not making any changes to this Boston rotation. 36 minutes to Tatum, 35 minutes to Jaylen Brown. I guess I could go ahead and go I mean, it's a 10-point. Now, I'm comfortable with that. 25 to Derek White. Yeah, we're good. We're good here. So for Boston, $5,100 Time Lord, as per usual, will always look interesting. If you want to roster Tatum, Brown, Smart, or Horford, by all means, there's not a single priority for Boston. On Brooklyn, can't play anybody. If you want to play anybody, it's Nick Claxton at 6,400. This team is, to me, off the table. I don't know how you want to go here and get anybody here. So, basically a write-off game. I like the Boston side more than I like the Brooklyn side, but I will not have much of Brooklyn. Phoenix, they are 5.5-point favorites in Chicago, 222 total. We got the debut of Kevin Durant 2 days ago. Josh Okogie continued to play his 30-plus minutes, which makes me feel good. Terrence Ross is questionable for this one. I don't know if he's going to be a part of anything moving forward anyway. We did get TJ Warren back in the rotation. Let's see what that rotation looked like on Wednesday. For Phoenix, they are the ones that beat up on Charlotte. TJ Warren played a real rotation in the second quarter. Ish Wainwright was a little bit more limited, although he did come on before TJ Warren. But 33 minutes for Chris Paul. I feel pretty good there. I got 34 minutes in for Devin Booker. I feel pretty good there. Josh Okogie just needs to be even higher in minutes. So we're going to take him up to 33. Durant played 27. Played every quarter, and then... Ooh, I got to sneeze. Whew, that was a big one. Durant started each quarter, first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, and then they brought him in to close a couple minutes. Feel like 28 minutes is right, but don't be surprised to see Kevin Durant just immediately play 34 minutes and really drive us crazy. 33 for Ayton works. We go Jock Landale straight back up. Torrey Craig's minutes, I guess we could discount a little bit. So let's do that. Cam Payne played the backup run to Chris Paul. That makes sense. Damian Lee was just a straight backup as well. So what we really need to do is just sort of split 33 minutes between TJ Warren. Or we need to assume that Terrence Ross is going to play. That will be a piece here. So I guess, yeah, let's just say that it's going to be Craig and Ross. None of this matters. It really doesn't. So this is 17 and 16 minutes. We'll go 17 minutes to Torrey Craig. We'll go 16 minutes to Terrence Ross. If it's not Ross, it's Wainwright or Warren. We're not playing backups for the Suns, even in a nice matchup against Chicago. Too big of a slate to care. Don't have to quibble about the 9th and 10th guys on a slate like this. On the Bulls, now they probably have some stupid shit that they're doing. So no Javonte Green. So they are running this very standard 9-man rotation at this point. We're getting 28 minutes a night out of Patrick Beverley. We're getting 25 minutes a night out of Alex Caruso, I guess. We're going 34 Vooch, 14 Drummond. We're going 35 DeMar, 35 Levine. Patrick Williams in and around 24 minutes seems about right. Ayo Dosunmu's minutes are down pretty considerably. Like take 1 minute away from him, give it to Patrick Williams. Kobe White seems pretty stuck in that like 23 mark. I don't have much else that I want to change here. And we kind of know what we're going to get from Chicago as well. For Chicago, there is not a single priority on this team. If you want to play Alex Caruso and hope he gets the 25 minutes, that's probably your best option as a point per dollar guy because he's 3,200. But the minutes aren't really there. I wouldn't play anybody from Chicago today. I just don't see it. On the Phoenix end, maybe you play Josh Okogie. He's certainly an okay value. I don't like Booker. I don't like Paul. I don't like Ayton. We're not getting anything in this game either. These first 4 games have been pretty unappealing. If we just want to look at what we've seen so far, like Terry Rozier, Kelly Oubre are the best plays on DraftKings. And like Terry Rozier is going to be a pretty good play at 7,700. Same for Oubre. The next closest guy is Robert Williams. And like I barely mentioned him. There's nothing on DraftKings so far that is an essential option. Nothing we've seen so far other than Rozier and potentially Oubre is going to get any sort of real ownership. Josh Okogie on FanDuel at 4,600 might actually be the best one yet. The Knicks are 2.5-point favorites in Miami, 215 total. And barring any crazy injury news, we're not about to get any good plays out of a 215 total. This is the lowest total on today's slate by 7 points. Now, Miami's got a Q tag on Jimmy Butler. We'll get to that in a second. As we look at the Knicks, they're at full strength, which means we're not changing anything for the Knicks. 37 minutes for Brunson, 36 minutes for Randall. All these other guys are playing in the mid-20s, and none of it feels good. Mitchell Robinson played 26 this most recent time. We're going to go 29-19 on Mitchell Robinson and Isaiah Hartenstein. What was that most recent Knicks game? They did beat the brakes off of Brooklyn. Mitchell Robinson played 25.5 minutes. Could have gotten an extra 2.5. So yeah, 29 works. We got nothing else here. The Knicks are as easy to project as possible, and there's no chance they're going to look good here against Miami unless someone made a mistake from a salary perspective. For Miami, now, if Jimmy Butler gets ruled out later today, changes up the game a little bit here. I mean, Tyler Hero becomes a very different play. Victor Oladipo probably becomes a really nice play. But for now, well, we got nothing to do here. 35 minutes for Tyler Hero, 34 minutes for Bam. Max Strus played a little bit more in this most recent game. If you want to go that direction, go ahead. They were very flat. But we know what we're doing here. We're ignoring this game, basically. 8K Bam is an okay play. He's not even close to Robert Williams. Well, no, I can't say not even close. But, I'd rather play Time Lord. I'd rather play Mark Williams. Clint Capella is basically the same play. It's very, very difficult to like Miami. And it's equally as difficult to close to impossible to like anything from the Knicks. Just draw a line through this game. You should not be playing. Look, they are GPP pivots only. That's it. Raw point ceiling plays. There is just nothing there. These are overwhelmingly awful games. Well, I assume that this is going to change that. The Utah Jazz are 1.5-point favorites in OKC, 234 total. This seems like a spot where we're going to get some plays. No Colin Sexton, no Jordan Clarkson, Ochai Agbaji off of the injury report, which means I'm expecting us to get the same sort of game that we got on Tuesday. Is everybody going to project Chris Dunn incorrectly again? Probably. Let's be clear here. I was right the whole damn day. Nobody listens to me. But I was right once again. Let's go through a little bit of a reminder of what I'm right about. Talen Horton-Tucker, starter. Chris Dunn did not start. Chris Dunn checked in directly for Talen Horton-Tucker, played the rest of the first quarter, played the rest of the beginning of the second quarter, checked out for Talen Horton-Tucker. They played 0 minutes alongside of each other. When Agbaji goes down in the third quarter, they bring in Simone Fontecchio. Talen Horton-Tucker comes out. Chris Dunn comes on. Now, Chris Dunn then closes the game in place of Agbaji. That could happen, and it is what I projected before. But any any thought process that these guys are not their direct backups is nuts. The only reason that they've played alongside of each other so far is Agbaji getting hurt. It's not out of the realm of possibility that Agbaji closes this game and they never play alongside of each other. But if every single game that we've seen so far, with Conley out, with no Clarkson around, all we can read into is that they have not played Chris Dunn and Talen Horton-Tucker alongside of each other other than a closing sequence in this game against Brooklyn. By the way, Chris Dunn, minus 24 in 26 minutes. Let's not forget that Chris Dunn also sucks. So, as we look at this, Talen Horton-Tucker played 29 minutes. I am going to take Talen Horton-Tucker down to 30. I'm going to leave Chris Dunn in for 21. I already can see where this is going to end up going for the rest of the day. So I'm happy with where I'm at. 31 for Walker Kessler, 35 for Lauri Markkanen, 30 for Kelly Olynyk. I got Agbaji in for 29. That's probably too many. I certainly don't have, I don't think I have Johnny Juzang as a guy that was functionally able to be played. I chose Frank Jackson instead. Is this a guy that I have in my model? It is not. All right, so I'm going to leave everything on Frank Jackson because it doesn't make a difference. We're not playing that Juzang guy. Rudy Gay in. Fontecchio in. Yeah, so we don't really have any rotational changes to make, but I am not giving more minutes to Chris Dunn. That is just not happening. If he plays alongside of him, it'll be the first time that we should really expect that. Can he close and pick up an additional 4 minutes? Yeah, I think so. And that's basically what I'm giving him. Like, if we don't think that he's going to play alongside of Talen Horton-Tucker at the end, what we're really saying is that there's like a 4-minute stretch at the end of the game where they'll play alongside of each other. I gave him 3 minutes. Here's what we'll do. I'll give him 4. 4 minutes alongside of each other, potential close. And then, yeah, I think we're good here. I'm going to get Agbaji down to 27 and bump up Fontecchio. None of that's going to end up mattering in the long run. But be aware of Chris Dunn for today, folks. Because he's going to be projected wrong in the industry across the board. Know it. Be ready for it. OKC. No SGA, no Poku. They did sign Jared Butler, which is annoying. They got rid of Omer Yuri, too, I think. So turn that into Jared Butler. Ousmane Dieng and Lindy Waters are evidently with the G League. I assume we're getting pretty standard OKC as of late, which means 32 minutes for Jalen Williams. I got 31 for Giddey. I got 31 for Dort. Dort played 36 minutes. Had him everywhere, too. Joe in for 28 works for me. Jalen with a Y. Should probably, I guess that works. Saric played less. Let's get him down. Trey Mann played less. Who played then? Where are these minutes? So I got to just replace Lindy Waters' minutes. I'm just going to give them to Jared Butler. I hope doesn't matter. Could matter. Doesn't matter. Good. Doesn't even have a salary. Fantastic. It's Isaiah Joe season once again. I mean, for 4,500, let's just double check the Isaiah Joe usage rate because I do have it pretty jacked up. So we're going to say SGA off. And then we're going to say Dort, Jalen Williams, and Giddey. Just out of curiosity, how many minutes have they played this season with SGA off? 137. Joe's played 57, 19% usage there. So if I say that there's got to be at least 2 of those guys on, can I add an extra guy? Is there anybody else that pulls a bunch of usage? Butler. I guess it is Joe. Let's just say Joe then. At least 3 of Dort, Williams, Giddey, Joe. That takes Joe up to 218 minutes, 20% usage rate. I got him in at 19.5. Yeah, so I don't even feel bad about where I have him here. Giddey's at 26. That seems fine. Dort is at 25. That seems fine. So I like Isaiah Joe once again. 4,500 shooting guard, small forward. That's just great flexibility, especially against Utah. Should shoot the lights out. 5,500 for Dort is the second best play here. 3,800 for Jalen Williams, the center, is very interesting. Are they playing those guys alongside of each other? Kenrich Williams, by the way, out for the rest of the season. I don't know if I mentioned that. But yeah, if you're playing anybody, it's Dort and it's Joe. And not in that order. For Utah, Markkanen for 9,600 is viable. That's, a very high ceiling for a guy like him. Walker Kessler at 6,900, totally viable. Talen Horton-Tucker at 6,400. Look, it's not going to be fun, but he's a decent play. Chris Dunn's up to 4,300. Just don't play him. To me, he's unplayable. Fully unplayable. People are going to get lucky here because he's not priced where he was, which was incorrect. Everybody's too high on him. And it's not going to matter because of his price now. But everybody's going to project him too high. Memphis Grizzlies. Hit that like button, by the way. 144 people. What's my guess? 54 is what I think I'm going to see when I scroll over. 64. Even better. Let's get that number up over the 70s. And at that point, I mean, the 50% ratio is going to be there. But, don't limit yourself to that, guys. Let's talk Grizzlies. And those Memphis Grizzlies are 5.5-point dogs in Denver, 233 total. Great game. Excited to watch this one tonight for sure. Wife's going to be out of town. And this is, not even close. This is clearly the best game to watch. Clippers, Kings could have been, but Guru, no way to know. Onyeka Okongwu is really good. There was no Onyeka Okongwu behind Rudy Gobert. It's not. I don't expect Clint Capella to have a future for. They're more likely to trade him in the offseason, I think. Yeah, Ashton, you and me both. Can't wait. Fights are going to be great. All right, for Memphis, not a lot of changes. They should be getting Steven Adams back shortly. For now, though, this is the same rotation we normally get. These guys just play limited minutes. It's kind of wild. And there's not much to like here. I'm keeping the same rotation. We know what Morant and Bane and Brooks, Triple J all do. It doesn't seem to matter. And this isn't that kind of game. Because for Memphis, they're the third fastest team. Denver's 18th in pace. They have been playing faster, but it's still not good. It's a bad matchup. Then on the Denver end, Michael Porter Jr. is probable. Aaron Gordon's probable. Chanchar is questionable. Still no Zeke Naji. We got Thomas Bryant in as backup center. There's not much really to talk about here. Did Jeff Green, he broke his face or some shit, right? Is he getting DNPs? 228-23 Nuggets box score. Are they just not playing Jeff Green now? Make sure I get that right. Yeah, Jeff Green, DNP CD. Okay, so if we take that away from him, then basically just give those minutes to Chanchar. And then random minutes to Christian Brown. 34 for Jamal, 32 for KCP. We're going to go 30 to MPJ, 30 to Aaron Gordon, 25 to Bruce Brown. We'll go 26 to Bruce Brown. I guess Reggie Jackson can use those extra 6 minutes and I don't have to give him to Christian Brown. But there's not going to be anything here. Look, like, as weird as it sounds, 4K Bruce Brown shooting guard small forward is probably the best option on DraftKings. You want to pay 11.8 for Jokic? Go ahead. 7,800 for Jamal Murray is a nice price tag. There's not a single priority here for Denver. And Memphis might actually be the worst team that we've looked at so far. This is a very, very difficult slate, at least as of right now. And that ends all of the games up until... Oh, no, that was the first 10 o'clock game. So we got 4 games at 10 and 10:30. Crazy late night hammer situation. Nothing matters up until 10 o'clock, you know? All right, New Orleans Pelicans, 5.5-point dogs in Golden State. Doesn't look like we're going to have Joval. He's doubtful. No Zion, no Alvarado, no Nance. Well, we're creating value here for sure. This is going to be the first place that we're actually seeing it happen. So they started Willy Hernangomez. I'm honestly shocked that they did because Jackson Hayes fit that matchup a lot better. So let's think about this rotation now. Willy Hernangomez played 21 minutes. Hayes played 16. So they went to... Who the hell was playing center when those guys weren't out there? First half... Okay, so in the first half, they closed the second quarter for the final, minute and a half. McCollum, Ingram, Jones, Richardson, Trey Murphy. So they went to basically, I guess we would say Trey Murphy at the 5. And then Hernangomez came out in the third quarter. Hayes subbed on. They closed the third quarter, final minute, basically the same scenario. Hayes started the fourth. And then they went small to close the game. Marshall, Murphy, Jones, Ingram, McCollum. They didn't play another center for the final 10 minutes of the fourth quarter. That is also the time that they went on a 21-6 run by spreading them out. They can kind of do that to Golden State. So we need to be very, very, very aware of the way that we are about to project the minutes here for these centers. I'm going to assume that Willy Hernangomez starts again. And I'm going to give him 22 minutes. And I'm going to assume that Jackson Hayes comes off the bench again. Which I guess it was a little bit of foul trouble limited him. I'm going to say we go 19 minutes to Hayes. And then we're going to do 7 minutes to Trey Murphy at the 5. He ended up playing 32 minutes. I think 28 or 27 is probably the more likely scenario. We got 34 in for CJ. That's got to go up to 35. Jay Rich played 20 minutes, which is even crazier. Didn't play the fourth quarter. That's when they started going to Najee Marshall. Najee Marshall got up to 27 minutes. At the very least, we got to get him to 24. I think taking Josh Richardson down to 28 feels about right. Dyson Daniels played a little bit less than we would have expected. Than I expected, I guess. Herb Jones played 28 minutes. I got him in for 29. That seems about right. That leaves me 21 minutes left. Kira Lewis actually played 2 legitimate rotations. So we're going to say that Kira Lewis now is the straight backup point guard. At which point now I have 8 minutes left over. They can go to Dyson Daniels. We're all good. Not only did they close with no 5, they weren't even approximating having a 5 out there. Let's see, what do the Pelicans rates look like? We're going to say Joval off, Nance off, Zion off. How many minutes have they played when it's either Willy Hernangomez, Jackson Hayes, or nobody? Like Willie Hernangomez has a 25% usage rate there. But he's also probably played not a lot of minutes with CJ and BI out there. But I am going to bump him up to like 23.5. Trey Murphy just becomes himself. Najee Marshall, sort of just himself. Josh Richardson, discount him a little bit. Herb Jones actually handles the ball a little bit more. CJ in this scenario is at a 30% usage rate. We're going to bump him up. BI has only played 89 minutes in that scenario. He actually gets a little bit of a bump. That all works for me. Actually, no, I got to lock Jackson Hayes in. Yeah, there we go. That'll work. Huh. Well, the Pelicans are going to look pretty interesting here against Golden State because it's a pace-up spot against the Warriors. For Golden State, they are on a back-to-back, correct? They played yesterday, didn't they? Yes. Uh-oh. Oh, I didn't save it for so long. How far in are we? Guys, cross your fingers, please. Okay. That could have been worse. That could have been worse. We got all the way to Jackson Hayes' usage rate. So as we get Jackson Hayes in, we bump up CJ McCollum. We bump up Brandon Ingram. I enable content. I save. Whew. Another day with another paranoid, oh God, everything just broke day. You gotta love it, folks. You gotta love it. Man, that was scary. So scary. All right, let's look at Golden State now. Let's hope nothing breaks. So, Golden State played yesterday. I assume we're getting everybody. Like, Clay's been playing back-to-back, so I don't really have any changes that I want to make to this rotation. Kieran, yes and no. Alarm actually didn't work, but I was awake already watching to see if it would work or not. So now I need to figure out why. My backup alarm did work. So it has something to do with, I use the sleep app in the phone. It sets up a sleep schedule. For some reason, that alarm isn't making noise. But if I make a normal alarm, it does. So I don't know. I'm going to research it a little bit, but I've already set up a dummy moving forward, so I don't have any worries. I don't really see anything here that I want to change. I can make a case that I have Poole over projected. I want to bring him down to 33 minutes. If I leave, I got to leave Clay at 34. Otherwise, I'm never going to get him. Ty Jerome in for 20 works. Patrick Baldwin, Moses Moody, JaMychal Green, they all play basically no minutes. We'll go 6, 6, 6. 25 for Looney, 32 for Draymond, 21 for Lamb. Now, Lamb's just playing more. I'm going to get that dude today. It's going to be annoying. No one else is getting him. But this guy's playing, he's played 25 minutes a night for the past 6 games with Wiggins out. Why wouldn't he do it again? 24 for Kuminga. Can't really move that. So we're good here. Golden State. 5,700 for DiVincenzo. There are playable guys up and down the line for Golden State, but there are no priorities again. Pricing's correct today, pretty much across the board. But then we get to the Pels. Does this create anything? Sure does. $4,300 Willie Hernangomez is the guy we're going to most here. He's going to be popular again. We got like a floor minutes. I don't even want to say we got like floor minutes from him in that last game, but in 22 minutes at 4,300, he's so good of a point per minute guy that that's okay. Like he can score 30 fantasy points in 22 minutes. You just don't need a ton out of him today. I think it's a lot harder to get to Jackson Hayes. He's a reasonable play. Ingram, McCollum, Jones, Murphy, Marshall, all very, very viable as value options. No priorities. This slate is hard. It's really hard. 2 games to go. We're at 7:30 now. We're actually pacing this one pretty well. 154 people in the house. 87 likes. That all looks good. We're moving good. William, I'm starting to become a fan of it because of how difficult it looks. So now we got the Clippers, and we know that Kawhi Leonard is not going to play, and we assume that Paul George is. No idea. This is a back-to-back. We're probably not going to have this news. We don't know the status of Marcus Morris and Ivica Zubac. And then Norm Powell is uncertain for today, which is probably a good thing. If he doesn't play, you probably get some like Bones Highland. Ken, so it's set up. I've been using it for 5 years flawlessly. No changes to it. Like I didn't do anything new to that in the health app or to my sleep alarm. It's been used every day prior to that for every single process show that we've had. Nothing on my end has changed for my alarms. I haven't changed my alarms since the basketball season started. Basketball season starts, I make the change Monday to Friday, 5 a.m. It's been that since October. For some reason, just 2 days ago, it changed. This is a really difficult team to project right now. I have to project Norm Powell in. I have to project Zubac in. And then I also have to project Marcus Morris to play, 21 minutes. And then I got to project Batum for 20. Well, I'm glad I didn't get the Batum last night like I thought I was going to. So let's get Batum in for 20. 28 for Russ. By the way, he sucks. Terrence Mann goes in for 22. That seems fine. 24 for Eric Gordon. Who knows? I mean, the Norm Powell status is going to be big here. I got Bones in for 12 minutes, which is what he played. I don't want to go too much higher to Eric Gordon because I don't think he's going to play. Like, Eric Gordon also played 7 minutes the game before that when everybody was available. But we now have no Kawhi. So maybe Eric Gordon starts in Kawhi's place. Yeah, let's assume Eric Gordon starts in Kawhi's place. Unfortunately, I got to grab some rates. And no Kawhi honestly means that Russ is going to shoot more, which is bad. I don't know if you guys saw the clip I retweeted before this show started of Draymond guarding Russ in like past the free throw line. And it was just, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. All right, so we're going to say Kawhi Leonard off. We're going to say John Wall off. And Reggie Jackson off as well. And we're going to say games in which Paul George played. That's the best that we can do for right now. Some of these guys, it's a big sample. Some of them not so much. 176 minutes for Paul George with all those 3 guys off. Paul George in that time, 37% usage rate. Even if we don't want to go that crazy, we're going to take him up to 35. Russ has only played 13 minutes in that scenario, but I'm going to assume Russ just continues to be himself. And then Norm Powell is at 28%. I'm going to keep Norm Powell at himself. Everybody else, I assume, just sort of falls into place. Does Paul George's assist rate change? He does get a bit of a bump. I don't want to go too high because of Russ, but I will give him a little bit of a bump. I assume Paul George is about to look great here, especially against Sacramento. 240 total. It's the Kings. Kings are Q tag on De'Aaron Fox. That's annoying. That's another one that we don't really want to have to wait for, but we'll have to wait for. So if we go ahead and get De'Aaron Fox back in for his 36 minutes, right? And we get 12 in for Davion. Means I need to cut 7 minutes from somewhere. Monk seems to be at least a quick answer. Get him down to 22. We get Terrence Davis down to 14. And I think we're good. We'll go 35-13. I agree. He should be in the post, but he should be past the post into one of those chairs on the bench. That would be the better spot. Because if a team can't guard you, if you're not willing to shoot a 10-foot wide open three, if you can't do that to make your team, if that's not a league average shot for you, you shouldn't be out there. Of course you wouldn't, Chandra. You make bad decisions over and over and over again using no logic or reason. Of course you wouldn't want to play Paul George when Kawhi Leonard is out against one of the worst defenses in basketball. Of course. Why would you? 240 total? Why would you want to do that? Incredible. $4,600 Barnacle of the Bay is a great play today. Great play today. And I probably have him under projected. Harrison Barnes plays 34 minutes a night. Give me all the Barnacle today. All of it. Give me all the Barnacle of the Bay. Barnacle of the Bay might be the best play we've looked at so far. He's going to end up being my number one contender. 4,600 though. It's a great price. It's a great price. Barnacle of the Bay looks good. Sabonis, 10-1 looks good. As we look at the Clippers, what do you know? $8,300 Paul George is the best play that we've looked at so far today, and he's going to be overwhelming chalk. But obviously, that some people have different thought processes. Ignore those people. Shooting guard, small forward, 8,300, no Kawhi Leonard. If Paul George plays tonight against the Kings, he's the best play on the slate. Imagine trying to say something the opposite. Paul George is going to be one of the 5 highest owned guys if he plays tonight. He'll be the most popular semi-pay up to pay up option, bar none. None of this is close. Ignore everybody else that speaks. Listen to me. Paul George is an incredible play today, assuming he is in. You get the best positional eligibility. You get a comically low price tag. A guy that gets a giant usage bump with no Kawhi Leonard, no John Wall. None of these other guys that dominate the ball. Russell Westbrook obviously does. Let him do it. It's Paul George season aggressively. Aggressively. Incredible that you could land on something other than that. Minnesota Timberwolves, final game. 1-point favorites in Los Angeles, taking on the Lakers. This could actually be a game that's decent, too. These late-night hammers are going to matter. No Towns still. Jalen Noel questionable. Full-strength Minnesota, which means I'm not going to make a change to their rotation. We haven't seen Noel for 2 games. I'm going to leave him out as well. They seem to be playing Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Don't know how that's actually going to shake out long-term. 29 minutes for Slow-Mo, 32 minutes for Rudy Gobert, 31 minutes for Conley, 37 minutes for Edwards, 30 for McDaniels. I guess I can make 31. Austin Rivers played a little bit less of a role. I don't really have any other changes that I want to make here. Minnesota seems very reasonable. We go to the Lakers. I assume we're getting AD back today. No D'Angelo Russell, AD in, Schroeder in. I'm going to reproject this entire rotation. So we're going to get AD in at center. 35 minutes. Pretty easy stuff there. I mean, they went to Wenyen Gabriel as the backup. I wouldn't be surprised if they do that again. We'll see. We'll see what minutes we have left for someone like Mo Bamba. Dennis Schroeder, I think we got to go to like 33. What else do we need to do here for the Lakers? We're going to get Malik Beasley in for 31. We'll get Jared Vanderbilt, who's been the death of me as of late, in for 27. Should play more. And probably Troy Brown in for 27 as well. All right. Rui, let's just say that he plays the backup to Vanderbilt. That gives him 21. Then we need Reeves, Walker, question mark. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They played 9 guys, basically, and Max Christie a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They played 9 guys this past Tuesday as well. So let's get Lonnie Walker in for 20 minutes. We're going to get Austin Reeves in for 26. And that leaves me 7 minutes left over, which I'm just going to throw on to Mo Bamba. Done. Rates got to change. I had AD out for that most recent game. Yeah, Vanderbust is right. We take off LeBron James. We take off Russell Westbrook. We take off D'Angelo Russell. Games where Anthony Davis played. Ain't going to be a big sample. AD, 184 minutes. No Russ, no Russell, no LeBron James. 184 minutes, 32% usage rate. We'll go to 31. Austin Reeves gets a very sizable bump up in usage. Get him up to 18. Dennis Schroeder, 139 minutes in this scenario, gets up to 20% usage. Jared Vanderbilt has played 67 minutes in this scenario, 15% usage rate. He's just himself. And then Malik Beasley in 80 minutes has been at 21% usage. It's what he's always at anyway. Not a lot of changes we need to make here for the Lakers. Sir Manning, I need one too, man. I need one too. You're preaching to the choir. Big time assist rate bump for Dennis Schroeder. I'm guessing we get a bit of a rebound bump for AD. Sure do. We close this out with the Lakers. Anthony Davis, great. The best pay-up combination you're going to find today is Anthony Davis and Paul George. That is going to be the two-man pay-up combination that you're going to see in, I would imagine, my optimal. You're going to see those two guys be the two highest owned guys that you can pay up for. Not going to be close. AD looks great. Schroeder looks good. Malik Beasley looks above average. Austin Reeves, worth a flyer. Vanderbilt, I assume today is the day that he makes everybody sad. Minnesota, Anthony Edwards at 9,400 looks pretty good. Hard to play him over Paul George, but you should still be playing him a bunch. Jaden McDaniels, your second best option. We have made it through this rotation, which means we need to run some crunches, which also means that we need to talk about BetMGM. They are the sponsor of this show. If you guys are playing DFS, and if you're watching this show in the morning or at any time throughout the day, then you are interested in DFS. if you're in a legal betting state, you can get yourself a free month of Stokastic Plus Platinum. Your first bet will be insured up to $1,000, which means if it loses, they give it to you back. Whatever your bet size was, they give it to you back in bonus bets. You got to use the promo code Platinum Sub. And all you got to do is deposit at least $10 using the link in the description, or you can scan that QR code. You got to be 21 or over. Please be responsible. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Now, let's run some crunches, folks. FanDuel up first. What do we have? Look, I'm like 99% sure I know what the two pay-up options will be for the DraftKings. Optimal, at least. Ryan, no, you shouldn't be getting Paul George and AD. There's no way you should get Paul George. Westbrook's going to dominate the ball. You can't play the underpriced best guy on the team. That would be just crazy. I mean, why would you want to do that? You see how crazy that sounds? Optimal lineup on FanDuel, 329.33. This is the optimal by 0.11. Isaiah Joe, Damian Lillard, Josh Okogie, Terry Rozier, Lauri Markkanen, Talen Horton-Tucker, Jared Vanderbilt, still Willie Hernan-Gomez, and Mark Williams. FanDuel will be wild, but nothing that I see there stands out as something surprising. Just a lot of mid-tier value that has like very, very big error bars. Now, we go ahead and we take a look at FanDuel Power Rankings. Yeah, it's obviously Willie Hernan-Gomez and Josh Okogie. Wrong site, man. Wrong site. This is FanDuel, but I wouldn't expect you to get that piece of it right either, Sean. Josh Okogie is your number one contender on FanDuel for today. That is a thing that's happening. Josh Okogie, Guillermo Hernan-Gomez, you may know him as Willie. Lauri Markkanen, Terry Rozier, Talen Horton-Tucker are your top five. Lillard, Oubre, Edwards, Isaiah Joe, and Jeremy Grant round out the rest of FanDuel. On DraftKings, what do we have on DK? Optimals on DraftKings. Terry Rozier, Isaiah Joe, the Barnacle of the Bay, John Collins, Willie Hernan-Gomez, Dennis Schroeder, Paul George, and Anthony Davis, as everyone knew except for Sean. 294.63 is the projected total. That is the optimal by 0.32. Now, power rankings on DraftKings. Yeah, Terry Rozier, tip of the spear here. Still just hasn't been, price hasn't changed enough for him to not be. 7,700 just fits. You see Anthony Davis as the preferred pay-up option here. Is he going to be able to catch Isaiah Joe? It's going to be tight. Those top five look spot on. Terry Rozier, number 1. AD, 2. Isaiah Joe, 3. Paul George, 4. Kelly Oubre, 5. The Barnacle of the Bay comes in 6th. Dennis Schroeder, Anthony Edwards, Al Horford, and Jamal Murray round out the rest of the top 10. Yeah, Rozier, 7,700. That's just going to be a price tag that's way too difficult to get away from. And paying up for AD is simple. And you can just see, if we're just talking about the pay-up options on DraftKings, Jokic showed up in 5%, Lillard 9, 5 for Tatum. No real way to get to Durant at 28 minutes, 5 for Morant. Paul George is just projected like a complete. I got Paul George projected like Jokic for 1,600 less and I've got AD projected like Jokic for 1,600 less, same eligibility. So it's going to be really hard to get to Jokic over AD. And then you get someone like Paul George down here at 47 fantasy points. That's 8 more than, at least 8 more than Levine, Poole, Brunson, Ingram, Jaylen Brown, Vooch, Butler, Booker, Fox. Then you get to Edwards. Anthony Edwards is basically Paul George, but $1,100 more expensive. Paul George is going to, at 47 fantasy points, that's more than Julius Randle at 9,700. It's basically Ja Morant at 10-3. It's the no-brainerest of all no-brainers for today, which you will see in all data across Stokastic, across every one of our competitors. And you know where you'll really see it if Paul George plays tonight? In the ownership of the 150 maxers in the biggest contests. Follow the money, folks. It's the easiest way to do this. If you are not doing the things that the best players in the world are doing, and I'm not trying to say that I'm one of those people, go follow Tom, Eddie, Steve. Go look at Petty. Go look at the rest of the guys, all the names that you know in all of these contests. Go see what they do every single morning. I promise you, if Paul George plays today, he is going to be very highly owned. 1, in high dollar contests that only make up those guys. And 2, just in their exposures in comparison to the rest of the 150 maxers. All of this information exists out there. It is very easily and publicly digestible. If you want to get better, go find out what the best people do and try to replicate it as best as you can. It's that easy. They play chalk. They do play chalk. Do you know why? Because those are the best plays and they win more frequently. It's all right there. It's not confusing. It's not confusing at all. Very, very easy, in fact. Winning is hard. But understanding the best plays, that's not hard anymore. This isn't 2015 any longer. Folks, we're done here. That is the end of the week. And for me, that is the final live show I have for a while. I assume I'm on Sunday morning with Laffy, but I am not on the strategy show today. I am not on the deeper dive or live before lock. I assume I'll be in chat for the deeper dive. Keep your eyes peeled for anything that I've got coming out later today. But Prize Picks videos, No House Advantage videos. They play 150 entries, Sean, just like the max of everybody else that they can do. That's how this works. There's a max amount of entries. Everyone should play the max amount of entries if they have that ability. That's why it exists. Prize Picks videos, No House Advantage videos, Contenders videos, they will all be out soon. Prize Picks was going to be out pretty early. Contenders probably out pretty early. No House Advantage might be out in the right at the beginning of the afternoon. RBC Brian, how do I like the fights? I cannot wait. John Jones will be your new UFC heavyweight champion. Unless he gets knocked out for the first time in his career. We've never seen it happen. I don't know how he doesn't just dominate a grappling exchange with Ciryl Gane. Doesn't make any sense to me. Should run right through him. Bo Nickel, you're going to see a future champion fight today, or fight tomorrow. He is, I don't want to say this, it makes me feel sad. He's fighting Jamie Pickett. Jamie Pickett fights out of Wilmington, North Carolina. That is where I live. Unfortunately for Jamie Pickett, he is going to get absolutely trucked. It's going to be bad. Bo Nickel is on a different level. He is as high of a level of wrestler as you can have in the UFC. Going to be incredible. Who cares if he's clean? Obviously, you would. I hope he's not. I hope he's juiced to the gills like everybody else. It'll be better. It's way more fun that way. Valentina Shevchenko, who cares? She's just going to dominate like she normally does. Go watch Bo Nickel. Be the man. Go watch John Jones conquer another division. Good luck, everybody. Hit that like button on the way out the door. Have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday. Everybody, this was The Process. Bye.